Ego and BDSM has been something that I have personally experienced and witnessed other people experiencing within the BDSM realm that has led to drama, miscommunications, and dangerous situations. The point of this talk is to have people be aware of a different approach to Shibari, and that is Muganawa. Muganawa is egoless rope. It combines Buddhist philosophies of non-attachment with the Shibari practice to create an experience based on their desires, their needs and wants, while removing any of your own personal desires, needs and wants as the facilitator of the session. This is an approach that allows the person being tied, the bunny, to reach their highest potential within the rope without any outside influence. It allows that person to also find what they like about this practice and why they like certain things about this practice. Intention runs on both ends. Why do you want to be in the role of tying someone else? What needs get fulfilled? What happens inside of you when you are in this role of facilitating an experience for someone with whatever intention may be in that? And as well as the person receiving it, what gets fulfilled? I like to always ask masochists, what do you get out of this pain experience that it makes you happy? And we know that there are scientific reasons why we all like this, the hormones and these chemical things that happen within our bodies, but there are also psychological and spiritual reasons as to why we practice this. And a lot of our approach, especially with Muganawa, is pinning down that intention. Why do you practice? Why are you here? What do you want to feel? We are dynamic beings, and everyone in this room has their own unique intention with practicing Shibari. And it's our responsibility as individuals to know why we are practicing what we practice. And Muganawa places a very big focus point on that in a way that removes the ego from the entire equation to allow different things to flourish. Muganawa has also been something that throughout our years of practicing, we have cultivated experiences for others with this intention and seen that it has healing and transformative effects with others. We've always wanted to take a trauma-informed approach to the entire BDSM practice. Both my partner and I are really into somatic therapies and understanding how trauma lives within the body, how we respond to different experiences in our past, how we can use tools like Shibari to transcend those experiences and bring us back into the present, bring back our agency, bring back that autonomy that we had, or maybe pleasure that we may have lost within our journey. If someone's been exposed to something that may have not been the best, may have had an adverse experience with BDSM or Shibari in their past, that lives within the body. And to be able to reshape that within ourselves takes both a top-down and a bottom-up approach. For those that don't know, top-down approach is talk therapy. It's when you go to a therapist and talk to them. That is a top-down approach to your overall health. A bottom-up approach is a body-focused approach. Things like yoga, breathwork, and stretching, things that really focus on the physical aspects of our body, is called a bottom-up approach to therapy. What we have seen is that Shibari, when approached with a specific intention, can be a somatic experience for others, allowing people to re-experience certain things that they may have had adverse experiences in their past and re-experience them in a safe, consensual, and pleasurable experience to rewire our brains and be able to surpass some traumas that may limit us in our day-to-day lives, and utilizing Shibari as a tool to do that. In that, we've taken that practice of Muganawa and that egoless approach to rope in facilitating an experience onto the entire BDSM practice, creating what I like to call a platonic approach to BDSM called Bondage Directed Somatic Medicine, or BDSM for short. In certain cases, my partner and I, we're BDSM practitioners. In certain cases, we are performers. But in a lot of cases, we are somatic intimacy coaches helping guide other people through an experience that they want for themselves. BDSM to me gets portrayed in a way that is this highway, but it's this lane where people are driving like Ferraris and Lamborghinis really fast down the street. And if you want to learn how to drive, you got to learn how to drive 200 miles down the street in order to practice this. And that draws a lot of people away from the practice of BDSM in the first place. So the way we like to approach BDSM is that I want to meet you down at the parking lot and show you a vehicle. This vehicle is called BDSM. This vehicle can be driven any way you want to. Everyone here, I would assume, I'm just assuming, has a different car. That means that car that you chose fits your personality. You drive based on your personality. Some people like to drive fast. Some people like to drive slow. Some people are right in the middle, but everyone has their own lane. And to us, BDSM is about understanding the vehicle and how to drive, and then finding your lane and where it fits with you and how you would like to practice. You don't need to go 200 miles an hour in order to practice BDSM the right way. There is no right way. It is understanding the vehicle, which is partially why we like to teach everyone rope, because when all drivers know how to drive, it just makes driving that much safer. I have a vision for our future, for the world that we live in, where we can have a long, tiring week and say, hey, my body's going through a lot of stress and pain. I think I want a BDSM session to do some realignment and emotional processing and be able to take care of myself. The same way we can all say, hey, I've had a rough week. I'm about to go get a massage, or maybe go see my chiropractor. And no one looks at you and says, you're going to get a massage? Have you heard what happens during massages? They can get kinky. And is that a lie? Absolutely not. There are places that take massages and make them extremely kinky. But are there not places that you can go to get a massage professionally and platonically, and you don't have to worry about that? And you just know that you're walking into a place where there's a container set for you. And the questions that you're going to be asked is, where do you have pain? Where would you like to be massaged? And then your massage therapist, I would hope, focuses on that area. But if you tell your massage therapist, hey, I have a shoulder thing, like I really need some shoulder work, and they start massaging your ankles, are they listening? Absolutely not. And someone's not going to have a good experience. The same exact thing, in my opinion, applies to BDSM and bondage, where it is an intimate, vulnerable, sensorial experience with another person, just like massage. And some people learn this to raise intimacy within the bedroom, and some people learn it to practice it platonically and professionally because they understand the healing benefits that this practice could have. We can all go to a massage spa and be able to receive this service without any weird looks from anyone else. And what I aim to do is to cause a paradigm shift in the way that we all practice BDSM and bondage. This does not mean to change your entire practice or what you believe in or how you approach it, but this just gives you another way. Something that I invite you all to do is just practice. Practice as riggers, taking away all desire, all ego from a specific session, and allow the bottom to cultivate the entire thing based on what they want. I will say from my own experience of tying hundreds of people across the country, that is how I've learned a lot of what I do. That is what I feel makes me qualified to be here to speak in front of you all today, because I have taken the time to see how this practice can have an effect on those around us. And I am very passionate in sharing that message to everyone around me. I was really kind of adverse to Shibari when I first was introduced to it. I didn't want to practice it. I thought it was hardcore. I thought it was too intense, and it wasn't for me. But in going through an experience where I was able to see Shibari performed creatively and platonically, really changed my vision on it. So when I first started, it was strictly decorative. I just did decorative ties for people, and I was like, listen, we're just gonna do something pretty. But then one day someone came and then they asked me like, hey, I have like ideas as to how I would like to feel. So I was like, all right, let's explore this. They told me how they would like to feel, and then I did my best to create that, just what they asked. And they were like, whoa, that was wild. And I'm like, okay. So now when more people started coming up to me, I'm like, hey, how would you like to feel for this? What is your intention? And people would tell me, okay, I want to feel comforted and held. I want to feel empowered and sexy. I want to feel safe. And then I would take whatever people wanted to feel and then be like, okay, what ties will embody that energy? And I would do those ties. And I saw that the more that I did that and the deeper I put that intention in there, the more transformative the experiences were and the more healing that I experienced through others and within myself. And I started seeing this detachment of ego was not only benefiting others, but it was benefiting me, in which I was learning. I was experiencing. I wasn't just like, you're going to come here and experience what I have to give, but now I have a wide toolbox of things that I can provide. And if all I need to do is listen and be like, okay, you want your shoulders worked on today? Let's work on your shoulders. And I started treating this like massage. When people come to me, what do they want worked on? What is it? Why are they here to see me? They're here for rope, but what's deeper? We have found that there are three main intentions with rope: creative, meditative, and erotic. And that, in my opinion, covers the entire spectrum of how this can be enjoyed. It can be and or, like it doesn't need to be one or the other. It's creative, meditative, and erotic. I feel in that order on the spectrum. It could be a combination of two. It could be just one. But an intention usually falls along those. And in listening to those, I now shape my approach based on that. If someone wants a creative approach, all right, I'll be the creative photographer and performer. If someone wants a more erotic approach, all right, I'll be the BDSM dom and be in that headspace. But if someone wants a meditative experience, I am a somatic intimacy coach, and we are going to work on it this way. And language is so important in what we do. And what I have dedicated the last decade of my life to doing is to really understanding the language that we utilize for this practice. We already know that rope is a mode to communicate, but have we learned the ABCs? Do we have the actual dictionary on Shibari to really understand the language and how we can formulate different words to mean different things? English starts with your alphabet. And then with that alphabet, you're able to create words. And with those words, you're able to create sentences. And with those sentences, you're able to create stories. The same thing applies with Shibari. It's a lot of really small things. In my approach, we learn the letters first, so then we can know how to really create a story that says everything that we want to say. And everyone understands and is able to receive it. Muganawa was a term that I had found later on in my Shibari practice when I started looking at the different approaches in rope. Shibari originates from a martial art called Hojo Jutsu, which is a samurai's art form of restraining a body using rope. Because of those origins, a lot of people practice what's called semenawa, which translates to torture rope, and that is why the pain aspect is so big within the community. However, there are other approaches like ichinawa, which is one rope play, suichinawa, which is shameful rope, and Muganawa. When I saw Muganawa, all I read, because there's very little study on it, was one article by Asada Steve that brought up Muganawa and said that it had a correlation to Buddhist philosophy of non-attachment. And I was like, how can I learn more about this? We have not only placed the principles of non-attachment, but we also incorporate specific values. In Buddhism, they're called the Brahmavihara, or translated to the 4 divine emotions. And these are the values, along with non-attachment, that we bring into each of our sessions. These values are loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. Loving kindness means that you're approaching everything from a place of love and for the other person. Compassion means that you understand that people have gone through suffering and you can have awareness of the suffering that humans can sometimes go through. Empathetic joy, meaning you are happy for someone even if you did not contribute to someone else's happiness. It can also be called compersion for those of you polyfolk. And equanimity, meaning having an even-mindedness and a centered approach towards everything. So the quickest way I can explain that is don't be too emotional whenever you make a decision. Any emotion, really happy, sad, mad, horny. Any intense emotion shifts our decision-making skills. So if it's not a decision that you would make under a neutral level mindset, then it's not a decision that you should be making. I have applied that to my entire life and it's done me wonders. And it's just a suggestion that I always place to everyone else, to have a certain level of equanimity in your decision making. Discerning attraction. I feel like it's really important information to give out to the Shibari community to really understand. Attraction is a signal. It's a signal within our bodies that let us know something. Some people are not aware that there are 8 different types of attraction. So if we do feel a spark of attraction and only apply it to one type of attraction, sexual attraction, then we are now negating all the other types of attraction that there can be. There are things like sensorial attraction, aesthetic attraction, spiritual attraction. It can vary in many different ways. So part of what I like to share with others and invite others to do is understand how to discern attraction within your practice. There are times where you may be practicing where you get a little turned on. It's always good to take a step back. This connection that I have with the person, is it just the aesthetic of what I'm doing right now? Is it just the energy that's happening? Is it more intellectual? I really enjoyed our conversation and I want to learn more about this person. Really taking the time to take a step back and discern what that signal it is that we're receiving can usually guide more healthier connections within Rogue. When we're able to communicate what our intentions as well as our attractions are to another person, it helps mitigate a lot of confusion, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of these expectations that some people may have. Me personally, there have been times where I'm tying with a brand new person and there's an attraction there and I feel it within my body. Now, I have just always made it a practice to respond to it after the hormones have subsided. So there have been times in the middle of a session where maybe I get turned on or the person that I'm tying is turned on and they're like, oh, can we take this somewhere? I'm very big on just let's finish what we negotiated first. We did not negotiate this in the beginning. Let's wait till our hormones are back to a normal balance, because in those states, hormones are more spiked and decision-making can be altered. Don't make any decisions during sessions and wait till after the session, literally like after aftercare, because that is the end of the session, after aftercare, to then maybe bring up these things of attraction and like how they would like to be explored. As opposed to it was hot and like we just wanted to jump right in to the thing and we were just both in the mood. While that can be accepted in like certain places, it can be received differently by different people based on their experiences in their life. I was talking earlier about having a trauma-informed approach, and we like to speak a lot about just understanding how trauma lives in the body, how trauma presents itself in the body. There are some reading materials that I like to suggest to others when wanting to understand more about how this affects us in our body. The book is called The Body Keeps the Score. Recommendation for those wanting to learn more about how trauma lives in our body, how it presents itself, and how we as practitioners, when it presents itself, be able to approach it from a place of not only being informed, but being compassionate and loving and not making it worse. Because it's very easy to make it worse if we don't know what we're doing. So the more we know what we're doing, the safer and happier everyone else is in this practice. Understand that we are all so dynamic. Everyone, every single body in this room is different, and it would be arrogant to think that I know the one thing that's right for all of you, because there is none. To say that would mean that I negate our uniqueness, our individuality. So it helped me be more accepting of people's individual experiences, more compassionate towards everyone. Muganawa was something that was found, and I've taken that Muganawa and expanded a little bit more on it. Bondage Directed Somatic Medicine is something that is more of our creation. It's a therapeutic style of BDSM that I've created in order to have more people just experience this. It's not the way, this is a way. I just like to point that out. In creating this practice, we've also developed a program. This program is called Embodiment Through BDSM, and it was formulated for people who have had adverse experiences in BDSM to be able to reclaim their autonomy, their agency, find that pleasure in a practice that they once found pleasure in, and it may have been affected based on their experiences. In this program, we team up with a certified sex therapist to take care of the top-down portion of therapy, and we are the somatic coaches taking care of the bottom-up portion of therapy. Top-down is talk therapy, so it is whenever you go see a therapist and talk to them, that is top-down therapy, from the mind down. Bottom-up therapy is from the body up into the mind, and both of these therapeutic approaches help establish that mind-body connection that is so important in all of therapy, even in this practice. This program was created for people to be able to change their life around after a bad time. We were able to find someone back in Vegas who had horrible experiences in her BDSM life. She came to my beginner workshop and I mentioned safe words, and she started bawling because she had never heard another Dom mention safe words. She couldn't be in a room full this big of people because she would have a panic attack and then leave. This would be way too much. So we're like, let's see about putting you through this program. After 6 dedicated sessions with my partner as well as our therapist friend, this woman is now giving performances, teaching rope all over, giving workshops. She walks into a room and everyone sees her and she can smile, and she's reclaimed that power, that autonomy, that agency in her life. And it's been like one of our biggest success stories, and why we find it so unbelievably important to share this message, to share this practice, and to share this vision, this mission that we have with all of you in order to change the world, create a paradigm shift in this practice to where more people can enjoy that. I'll end by saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I'd like to have a community of people that resonate with this vision and are open to sharing it, open to experiencing it, helping facilitate other experiences for the good of everyone that loves this practice and for the good of our bodies and our minds. I definitely see that happening in our future, and I'm grateful to everyone who resonates with the message and chooses to share it after today. Thank you.